This week is one of my favorite things to talk about, and it's something that I didn't know anything about when I first started, and this is our adoption journey and how we created our beautiful family. And when we started out, we knew nothing. I mean, absolutely goose egg, nothing. I mean, all we did was go to Google and send up flares to hopefully catch other people's attention and maybe, chime in on something that we could learn from. But we knew nothing. And that's why I'm doing this video. Maybe somebody out there doesn't know anything either. And by me doing this, maybe they'll learn a little something. So thanks for coming today. This is our adoption journey. Let's do it. So before I start out, I just want to say I really appreciate your support. So please subscribe to our channel at NolaPapa and hit that notification bell so you can be notified when I release new episodes. You can follow us on Instagram at NolaPapa, Facebook at NolaPapa, and you can keep up with my blog because I write about all of this stuff at NolaPapa.com. And I am eager to share it all. So this particular episode is our adoption journey and what we did to create our family. And it's daunting in the beginning because you may not know anything. If you're anything like us, we knew zip about what to do. And all we knew is that we had the desire in our hearts to create a family. We knew that we're getting close to 40 years old and we didn't want walkers at a wedding or graduation. So we needed to hit the ground running. And we went to Google and we did our little, adoption search. And we found that us being a gay couple would take somewhere between 5 years to match because of us being in the South and being gay and matching with a particular birth mother. And we also knew that we wanted an open adoption. We strongly felt that as we raise our daughters, we wanted to be transparent, open, and honest about their origins. And when they became old enough and started asking questions, we wanted to be honest with them and let them know exactly where they came from and why. We felt like having them rooted in that honesty just right in the beginning, they would be able to really trust us. And we found that very important. So in the beginning, we wrote down on pieces of paper. I had my piece of paper, Douglas had his piece of paper, and we wrote down things that we thought were very important to each one of us. And then once we did that, we looked at both sheets of paper and we looked at the ones that we both identified with. And we then went to the search engine and we looked around all over the country. First, we looked all over the world. And for us, it was more practical to look in the United States. And although we really wanted something closer to home, we broadened the search and we did the whole country. And in addition to that, we searched our brain to try to find anyone that has adopted, any gay couple that has adopted. And honestly, there really wasn't that many people out there that, were doing the route that we were on. So we did know of a couple and we didn't hear back. And we had a neighbor that worked with a gay guy at her school, and she got his email address and gave it to us, and we we emailed him and we didn't hear back. So we felt like we were on our own, and we just, started emailing these different agencies, very helpful agencies. We actually found one agency in the Pacific Northwest, and they specialized in same-sex couple adoptions, and they were eager to help us, and they were sending us a packet, and we had to write our bio or our portfolio, and we needed to do these certain things in order for an adoption to even happen. And some of those things are, number one, your home study. And in order to do a home study, you have to have a social worker. So, but first, we didn't even know what route we were going to do. We just knew we wanted a child. And we were set to go to orientation at this particular agency in the Pacific Northwest. And literally 2 weeks before we were to go, we got an email from this couple, and this couple was the person that we emailed from our neighbor, and they apologized that they didn't get back to us, and come to find out, their adoption attorney was looking for a gay family or a gay couple so they could adopt this baby that didn't have a adopted family. And we were like, what? Like, the baby's been born? And we called that adoption attorney, and from a 5-year wait that we were told shrunk down to a 3.5 week wait. And there's not much that your brain can do to comprehend what's going on when like that is dropped on you. Like, I'm thinking, I might be almost 40. I didn't realize that like within the month, so we knew that we wanted this child, and we got set up with that adoption attorney who we love, a local in New Orleans attorney. The baby was born in New Orleans. Everything was like the clouds opened up, and you saw this shining star just shining down, and it was so bright, it was lighting our path to see what we were going to do. All of a sudden, from a dark, pitch black sky where we couldn't see anything, all of a sudden this path started forming in front of us. And we then got set up with our social worker, who is amazing. And we knew then that we needed to do our home study. And like one thing led to another, and before we knew it, we had our home study, we had our adoption agency, we had our adoption attorney, and then we meet the birth family. And Douglas and I were so nervous. Like, you get stuck in your head like, oh, what if she doesn't like us? Or, oh, what if they say no? And you get, caught in your head with all these things that could go wrong because you're so excited, you can't even stand it. And it just seemed so organically natural. It was so exciting. And I remember the first time we met them, we invited them over to our house so they could see just how welcoming our life was if they were to choose us. And we went out to eat with them, and that restaurant still, like when we go out to eat there, it is so tender in my heart. Like every single time we go there, I get chill bumps because I just remember where we were, where we sat, the way we felt, the way it smelt. I mean, it was just like all these emotions. I love to go back to that restaurant. But anyway, we matched, and it was just so beautiful. And the baby was born already. She was very premature. She was born at 30 weeks. And I mean, that's really early. And she had to stay in the NICU for maybe just a little over a month before she gained enough weight to be released. And I mean, I want to say that there are beautiful things that happen with adoption. And there's not any word in the English vocabulary that I can articulate how beautiful that journey is. But there's also fear and sadness and, you know, emotions that really can rock you to your core. And you have to know before you start out on this journey that yes, it's going to be beautiful, but it can take sharp right turns just like that. And you have to be ready for it. So it's not a perfect and smooth ride. And you need to know that when you start out on this journey with your husband or your partner or your wife, you know you can talk to them. They are your rock. They're the ones that will pick you up when you need to be held, when they need to wipe your tears, when you want to laugh, when you want to just scream. Like, there's so many different emotions that go on through this journey, and you need to be ready for each and every one of them. Every adoption journey is different. There's not one journey that's going to be the same. So just because you're listening to my journey, when you start out on your journey, just know that it's not a perfect and smooth road. There is heartbreak, okay? There are adoption fails. There are adoption completions when you finalize your adoption. Like, there are, you know, the complete opposite emotions in the spectrum, and you need to know that you need to be ready for that. So with that said, we experienced heartbreak before we finished. And yes, we did match with that family, and we were set to adopt our little girl on the Friday of the day that she was released from the hospital, from the NICU. She was released on a Sunday. And unbeknownst to us, the birth mother took her home. And it shocked everyone. I mean, obviously it shocked us, but it shocked the agency, the attorney, the social worker. We all were like deer in headlights because we weren't expecting that. All of a sudden, the birth mother was changing her mind. And there were things that happened along the way where she felt like maybe this was her option to do that. When she was in labor prematurely, the original family that were set to adopt this baby backed out because of the prematurity of the baby. And they were there from the beginning, the whole pregnancy, through counseling sessions, the whole nine. They were there for it, and then they backed out like that. And that scared the birth mother. She was terrified, and she didn't know what to do. Our adoption attorney told us that we should consider this adoption failed. And we had already gone to Target and everyone in our family knew. We had this nursery that we built in 3 weeks. We were over the moon excited. Even though we knew that anything could happen, it's impossible not to get excited. And as much as you want to build yourself up and have this wall of not getting excited, that's impossible. You're going to get excited. And we did. So when we hit this wall of failure, it felt like a death. Like, that's the only way I could I could compare it. It was like I was grieving, because this whole journey all of a sudden ended like that. We, had our finalization day where we signed the papers and we get to bring our baby home on that Friday. We had that date set. So we were so close, and all I could do was cry. And I literally, in the dark, eating ice cream, crying in the middle of the night, like that kind of grief. Maybe not even ice cream, no, there was ice cream. But anyway, neither here nor there. It was sad. I didn't even go to work. I called out. And that was Monday and Tuesday. And, on Wednesday I had to go back to work, can't just stay at home. And then Douglas came in and said, I need to talk. And I didn't know what the hell he was gonna say. But he said that the attorney called and that the birth mother changed her mind again. What? I can't even with that right now. Get out my face about it. I can't talk about it. And he was like, no, we really need to talk about it. And the birth father has signed the paperwork. He is finished. And the birth mother is signing on Friday. What? I was grieving. I was literally crying as I was getting ready for work. And then that, do you see, it's literally like a roller coaster. You were at the lowest point and then you were at the highest point. And I have chill bumps. I all of a sudden was so excited again, but I was guarded. I said, no, I'm not getting excited. And I tried to have this wall, and I couldn't do that to myself again. So I tried to harden myself up and show that it could go both ways, and if it did, then I'm gonna be okay again. Well, Wednesday turned to Thursday, then it came 12 hours before, and I'm like, oh my God, we haven't got a back out call yet, so are we still on? Is it still happening? And Friday came, and we're getting ready to go to the meeting, and still no phone call, oh my God, what is happening? And we get in our car, we go, the adoption attorney calls, and we're like, oh my God, the attorney's calling right now. We're waiting in the car right outside the place. And she said, wait for my text and you can come in. And we did. And we got the text and we came in. And it was a somber time because, the birth mother's giving her away to us. and we were empathetic, so we felt that emotion, but in our hearts we were like, oh, so excited, because usually you have 9 months, probably longer than that when you wait, but the birth mother has to carry the baby, and that's a usual thing. You were there for that amount of time. You get to develop this beautiful relationship with her if it's an open adoption. And we were thrusted into this process and had 3.5 weeks. So it was all condensed down. And, that is an unusual situation. So most likely that's not going to happen to you or, for a situation, but it can happen. And that just means that you go extra fast, that the emotions are extra hard. Like it's, complete ups and downs, like fast. It's very fluid. So, it was rough. It took a big toll. But that adrenaline, when we came home, when we were driving home with that little baby, with our daughter in the back seat, making her little coos and those little noises, there's not an emotion I can even tell you how it feels. And I am just so grateful for the people that we had in our life. Our neighbor that got me that email from the guy she worked with. You don't know who is put in your life and why until that path forms in front of you. And it's almost like, there's a pond and there's lily pads and they just float up and you just hop on them like a little frog, and you're trying to get to the other end of that pond. And each relationship in your life is there for a reason. Every person in your life for a reason. And I am grateful to this awesome universe for allowing us to see and open our eyes and have the clarity and knowing that each person you meet for a purpose. And don't take advantage of that. So I'm going to have links to different articles that I feel like were helpful for us. And you can find that at my website at NolaPapa.com. And I urge you, if you have any questions, reach out to me and ask me anything. I'm an open book, and I would love to talk to you about any questions that you might have, because I didn't have that. When we searched, I didn't have that. So I would love to help you. And I, again, appreciate you watching this. I love being able to help, anybody out there. So thank you so much. And I appreciate all the support. Until next time.